He went on a famous dating show in China, but under a different identity. Despite his simple appearance, a white shirt and modest demeanor, the man was actually a millionaire. As soon as he stepped onto the stage, he hid his true identity and introduced himself by saying, "Hello everyone, I come from a remote village. I'm 30 years old and currently work in Guangzhou as a food delivery man. I took some time off today to come here, hoping to find a girlfriend who's beautiful, gentle, and capable." But he never imagined what would happen next. As soon as he finished speaking, 3/4 of the women turned off their lights. Contestant No. 13, visibly annoyed, asked, "You're already 30 and still working as a delivery guy? No wonder your clothes are plain and your skin is dark from the sun. And you still want a girlfriend who's beautiful and gentle? Don't you think you're aiming a bit too high?" She continued, "With your conditions, you should be happy if any woman even agrees to be your friend. You're just a delivery man, riding around all day on that old scooter. What kind of future is that? I bet you don't even own a house. If you don't, why are you here looking for a girlfriend? You expect a woman to rent an apartment with you." Before he could respond, she pressed further, "If you get a girlfriend, when do you plan to buy a house?" He calmly replied, "Since I work in a first-tier city where housing prices are sky-high, buying a house isn't my priority right now. I'd rather work hard, save money, and try to start a business. Once I succeed, then I'll think about buying a house. I believe that while I'm still young, I should focus on building a career. If I spend everything on a house now, I'll be trapped and unable to move forward. When the business succeeds, the house will come naturally." Contestant 13 shot back, "I understand your reasoning, but it sounds like a distant dream. If you can't even provide the basics, a home, how can you talk about a future? And if your business fails? Who would want a boyfriend with no security?" After saying that, she also turned off her light. 5 more women followed. Then contestant No. 11, with a serious tone, said, "Your mindset sounds nice, but I think you should just go back to your deliveries. You talk about starting a business. With what money? A delivery guy barely earns enough to live. How will you open a company?" Without waiting for an answer, she added, "Look at reality. One of the pendants from my jewelry collection costs tens of thousands of yuan, just one. You'd probably have to work half a year to afford it. I work as a massage therapist in a luxury spa, earning over 20,000 yuan a month. If we were together, would I have to take the bus with you every day? And if your business fails, do you expect me to share the consequences too? With a man like you, I'd probably even have to help pay the bills. I bet you don't even have money for a bride price. How do you expect to get a girlfriend like that?" The man, now irritated, replied, "So you want a relationship where you only reap the benefits without contributing anything? I believe everything requires effort before reward. If all you care about is money and comfort, then you're not the kind of woman I'm looking for. Please, turn off your light. I want someone willing to fight alongside me, someone who understands the value of shared effort. And if you want a rich playboy, maybe you should ask yourself if he would even choose you." Offended, contestant 11 said, "Are you saying I'm not good enough?" And angrily turned off her light. The man sighed and said, "Maybe I can't offer luxury now, but I believe I can give someone a happy and stable life in the future." At that moment, contestant No. 9 spoke up, "I heard your conversation with the others, and I think you're hardworking and ambitious. When you stepped on stage, I noticed your confidence and calmness. I just want to know, if you become rich one day, would you buy me a designer handbag? I like luxury items to decorate myself." The man, visibly frustrated, replied, "That's something I can't accept. I think everyone should buy what they like with their own hard-earned money. There's no need to compare yourself to others." Contestant 9 looked at him with disdain and immediately turned off her light. Only one light remained, from a simple, sincere-looking woman. She said, "You seem like a good person, hardworking and ambitious. I'm also from the countryside, so I understand how hard it is to leave home and work in the city. I'd like to get to know you better." The host asked, "So you're saying you're willing to hold hands with him?" She replied, "Yes." The man approached her, took her hand, and said, "Thank you for your trust, but I need to apologize." He paused and continued, "Before coming on stage, I hid my true identity. I'm not a delivery man. That was my first job when I was lost and trying to find direction. Today, after years of hard work, "I've built assets worth 10 billion yuan." After saying that, he left the stage holding her hand, leaving the entire room in stunned silence. The other 23 women were frozen, and as they remembered what they had said before, all they could feel was shame and regret.
In the end, maybe this isn't just a story about a man testing women's character on a TV stage. Maybe it's a mirror, the kind we avoid looking into for too long, because the reflection makes us uncomfortable. We live in an era where the shine of appearances is worth more than the light of essence, where hard work has become a synonym for temporary failure and luxury, the true social passport. The delivery guy became a joke, the investor is the new Prince Charming, and sincerity, well, that lost its practical use. What's most curious is that, if he really were just a delivery man, he probably would have ended that show alone. But the moment he said the word billionaire, the story took a sudden turn, and, ironically, regret flooded the stage. As if a man's worth could be measured by his bank account instead of what he carries inside. But let's be honest, how many of us wouldn't do the same? How many of us judge with our eyes before listening with our hearts? The truth is, everyone loves to say money can't buy happiness until the money is sitting across the table. Then the speech changes, patience vanishes, and love turns into a contract with hidden clauses. This story went viral not because it's rare, but because it's far too common. It's the portrait of a generation that learned to love through spreadsheets, how much he earns, where she works, who drives the more expensive car. Meanwhile, the idea of partnership, that notion of building together, has become a museum artifact. It's easy to point fingers at the women on the show and call them shallow. Harder is to admit that society as a whole is complicit. We're the ones who built this system where love is measured in square meters and social likes. And don't think it's just a women's issue. Plenty of men also measure a partner's worth by looks, as if a face were a resume. In the end, love has become an investment with calculated risk, and nobody wants to take a loss. What stands out most is the gap between what people say and what they do. Everyone claims to want someone kind-hearted, simple, and hardworking. But when that person actually appears, most people turn on the spotlight of doubt and turn off the one of empathy. The disguised billionaire, deep down, wasn't testing women, he was testing humanity. And the result, let's admit, wasn't very encouraging. The irony is that the only woman who chose him in the end was the one who saw not what he had, but who he was. And maybe that's what bothers people most, the reminder that true love still exists, it's just that almost no one believes in it anymore. So tell me, if you were on that stage, what would you have done? Would you have turned off your light after hearing he was just a delivery man, or held his hand, believing that success can come later if there's loyalty and effort from both sides? Because, in the end, this dilemma isn't about the billionaire or the women. It's about all of us, about how much we're still guided by status and how much we've forgotten that love, above all, is a choice. But maybe it's easier to keep believing the problem is always someone else's. After all, admitting that the whole society has become a hostage to appearances would require a kind of courage that can't be bought, not even with 10 billion. And you, what's your point of view on this dilemma? Do you think he was right to hide who he really was? Or do you believe no one should be tested to prove they deserve love? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe for more stories like this, and comment below what you would have done if you were on that stage. See you in the next video.